Yeah, what's going on here right now is a mix of sleet and freezing rain, with sleet being the more predominant precipitation. You can take a look here. We're at, I believe, Route 3294 in Kentucky in Ashland, and a lot of this road is sleet covered more than anything else. But underneath it, a bit of some ice and some muck, considering we've been seeing freezing rain. This road here is an accurate representation of what you might be seeing along I-64 once you get just to the west of Canova into eastern Kentucky. All right, road conditions are harsh. There are definitely plows out and about taking care of the roads, but considering the precipitation will be like this for at least a few more hours, yeah, best to not be on the roads. The trucks that we've been seeing out here, taking it slowly. The sedans out here, taking it slowly. If you have to travel, take it slow. No need to be harsh or I hate to be blunt here, but if you can stay inside, best to do so. We'll continue to watch the conditions here, take a look at some of the trees being weighed down by the ice, and of course the power issues that could result from that later on. For now, reporting in Ashland, I'm Alex Cordero, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Alex. And of course, with that ice comes power outages. They're dealing with it there where Alex is in Kentucky, in Ohio, and also here in West Virginia. Right now, we are taking a look at the outage map on Appalachian Power's region here in West Virginia. More than 20,000 customers in the state still without power. This, of course, going back to last week's storm. They've been trying to get those folks back online. Right now, a large concentration of those without power in Cabell, but also in Putnam and Kanawha County. And as they've made a lot of progress here. Tonight is not going to be good for this, as we're expecting to see these numbers just go up and up and up. No estimated restoration times have been announced just yet.
And no rest for the weary. More freezing temperatures on their way could lead to more ice across our region tonight. Chief Meteorologist Doug Harlow joining us now with a look at what we can expect as we head into the evening hours. Doug?
Yeah, what's going to be interesting, Rick, is that we're going to be watching the temperatures actually go up for some of us here. The forecast has changed a bit. Good news for some, but not so good news for others. And right now we are taking a look here across the region at our advisories and warnings that are in effect through tomorrow morning. It's a winter weather advisory for Charleston on up the I-79 corridor and down through Boone County. That's a change from earlier. Earlier in the day, we had been under an ice storm warning. We're now under a winter weather advisory. What does that mean? Well, it means we're going to get a little iciness here over the next couple of hours, but then transition to rain. Now, further to the west, it is an ice storm warning. That goes through western West Virginia into southeastern Ohio, northeastern parts of Kentucky, and then winter storm warnings once you get into the Scioto Valley. And that's really where we're expecting the significant amounts of ice. But right now, everybody's still below freezing. So with some light precipitation moving through, it can certainly be slick, especially once we start to lose the sun a little bit. That's going to create more iciness across the region. Radar and satellite showing that light precipitation moving in from southwest to northeast. You're seeing a lot of colors out there, but the bottom line out to the west, once you get west of Huntington, tending to be kind of a sleet and rain mixture, as Alex and Anna were mentioning. Around Huntington itself, it's more of a freezing rain. Same thing into central West Virginia. But then once you get south of Charleston, it's already plain rain. And that's the transition that I think is going to occur as we get into later on this evening, because a storm system is going to draw winds up out of the south. Temperatures down in southern West Virginia, 41 in Beckley, close to 50 down around Pineville. We're at 31 in Charleston, 28 in Huntington right now, but Charleston's temperature will creep above freezing over the next few hours. So we're going to be seeing some brief iciness going over to rain from the Kanawha Valley south and east, and there already is plain rain down in southeastern West Virginia. But north and west of Charleston, it will be very icy for tonight. Temperatures will have a tough time getting to freezing over there. In fact, portions of southeastern Ohio, northeast Kentucky will stay in the 20s all night long. So that's where the big buildup of ice will be. But in the Kanawha Valley, we might even hit 40 by midnight. So we're going to go to rain. But we can't let our guard down, because by dawn tomorrow, we're falling back into the 20s, and we'll be seeing anything damp out there turn icy once again. We'll time out the system for you hour by hour and talk about how much ice will accumulate across the region coming up in just a bit.
Eyewitness News starts right now with severe weather.
And tonight, a devastating ice storm on the region. Thousands of trees down. The power outages climbing into tens of thousands as we head into the overnight hours.
Yeah, and when all is told, this could be the worst storm that our region has really seen in nearly a decade, whenever you consider the damage that it's doing to the trees and also the power grid. Take a look at this video sent in to us from one of our viewers. This is what people are dealing with. This is from Lauren O'Brien in Johnson County, Kentucky. It was shot outside of her home in Oil Springs just a few hours ago. You can see those arcing power lines weighed down by all that ice, and then those lines that hit the ground are on fire. Power outages, a major concern in this storm, with the kind of damage we are seeing, it could be weeks before everything is back to normal.
And the roads out there are covered with ice in many areas. We have our eyes on traffic cameras across the region as road conditions will continue to worsen overnight. And it's not just that the roads are slick. Emergency crews putting out warnings to stay home because so many trees and branches are falling, blocking secondary roadways. This is, of course, setting up a really messy commute tomorrow morning for anyone who has to head out. So if you don't have to leave, stay home. And there are more storms coming. So things are going to be tough to get moving in the right direction when you add it all up. Alex Cordero there now in Ashland with an update on conditions. Alex.
Saw power flashes about maybe 20 minutes ago just to the south and to the east. Downtown Ashland is still holding for now. But there were power flashes not too long ago. And now when I'm looking up in the sky, I'm noticing it's, well, at the moment it's more freezing rain, but just a few minutes ago it was a rain mix with at least large flakes coming down. And we're going to be occasionally seeing more of a wintry mix, but the predominant precipitation here will still be the freezing rain, and it'll still stack on, and it'll still cause issues, though the roads, at least at this point, again, at least in Ashland, have been treated fairly well. Still not the best by any means, but at least cars are getting to and from. Still best to avoid the roads if at all possible, and the power lines here, they've got ice on them, but they're not being weighed down, at least in this spot. Might be because there's a little bit more support for the power lines here in downtown. But I'm telling you right now, that's not the same for other spots here in eastern Kentucky. We'll continue to monitor the situation, and we'll bring you more updates tomorrow morning. Reporting in Ashland, I'm Alex Cordero, Eyewitness News.
And it's amazing the difference going on between Charleston and areas just to the west. In fact, along I-64 right now, Charleston's at 33 degrees, and it's been mostly rain here for this evening. In fact, just stepping outside a little while ago, even our colder surfaces, our cars, which are the first to ice up, they're just wet here in our parking lot. But just off to the west, once you hit the Kanawha-Putnam County line, that's where it is freezing rain, and it's freezing rain just up into Jackson County as well. And basically all areas from there north and west, that is where it is a mess. Freezing rain continues to fall. A lot of trees are down into Putnam County, Jackson County, and that's where the ice storm warning is. So the National Weather Service outlined those areas in the ice storm warning, whereas Kanawha County and up I-79 at winter weather advisory for lesser amounts of ice, and that seems to be transpiring right now. These are in effect through the remainder of tonight. We've still got freezing rain falling around much of the tri-state, but again, from Charleston south, you're seeing more in the way of that green shading showing up. Now, there is a back edge to this. We're starting to see things winding down around Lexington, so that tells me there's probably another 2 to 3 hours of this to go before things start to tail off overnight tonight. 33 Charleston, but 32 in Huntington, and that 1 degree making a huge difference in terms of who's seeing all the tree damage, the power outages. Kanawha County's got a few outages, but not nearly as many as folks just off to the north and west. Now, the problem in Charleston and Point South, yes, it's wet right now, and it will remain wet most of the overnight, but right around dawn, there's going to be a drop in temperature into the 20s. And so all that dampness out there is going to ice up very quickly. And we're going to stay in the 20s all day long for tomorrow with gusty winds and a few snow showers around. So I expect some very slick travel, even if you've been seeing rain this evening. Tomorrow morning, heading out the door could be very, very icy. And we'll talk more about that and your complete forecast ahead coming up in just a bit.
Eyewitness News starts right now with severe weather.
Icy conditions this morning widespread through the area, and nearly 100,000 people without power right now. At this time, we're on the air, we're on the web, and we're streaming live on Facebook for you. It's 5 o'clock. Thanks for being with us. We have team coverage for you this morning as we keep an eye on weather conditions. We have Alex Cordero in Kentucky this morning. Dave Benton is covering things in Cabell County. Ava Rash is standing by for us in Putnam County this morning. We also have Lauren Tolada with us in the studio right now, tracking not only power outages, but also the traffic. But first, let's get to meteorologist Brandon Stover to wrap things up about where we stand this morning as we start off the day. Brandon?
Yeah, thankfully, Jennifer, that ice storm, the moisture associated with it is finally out of here for the most part. But in the wake of that system, we still have some moisture wrapping around it with falling temperatures. There's still plenty of hazards out here this morning. And it looks like with those falling temperatures, that ground being wet, we are concerned with refreezing of some of that moisture. So use a lot of caution if you're heading out today for several reasons. But you can see that rain scooting further east across the mountain counties. A little bit of redevelopment, though, into Kanawha Valley right now. Some scattered rain and snow developing, and colder air is trying to catch up with this. So that means some of the bridges and overpasses with time may freeze back over. Of course, there can be residual ice too from that ice storm last evening, especially further north and west you go, and also be on the lookout for downed trees and power lines, unfortunately, up in Jackson, Putnam, Mason, Cabell. Also southern Ohio, northeast Kentucky. Look at those temperatures in the wake of this. Something you don't want to see when you have mass power outages. It is 19 in Moorhead, 22 in Portsmouth, and it's getting colder in a west to east fashion. 28 Huntington, 33 in Charleston. Something else you don't want to see, gusty winds out of the west. With those trees being weakened, being weighed down with the ice, it's likely that additional trees will be falling as the morning goes on, especially further north and west. You can see those wind gusts 20 miles per hour. So that's going to drive our wind chill values into the teens all day long. So be on the lookout for slick areas, also fallen trees and downed lines. Will be around 27 at 9 o'clock with some snow showers out there. On and off flurries and snow showers, but look at how those temperatures fall off into the 20s. That's the last thing you want to hear when there are mass power outages. And right now we're going to head over to Lauren Talata. She's keeping an update on some of those power outages right now. How does it look, Lauren?
Well, Brandon, it does not look good. Like Jennifer said earlier, nearly 100,000 customers across the state without power this morning. It's almost unthinkable because, again, we've been following this for the last week or so. It just went from bad to worse. Taking a look at some of those numbers, Cabell County, it's absolutely by far the worst. Almost 30,000 customers, 30,000 households, I should say, without power this morning. That number just exponentially growing. Now, also, if we take a look at Wayne County here, as soon as we look at this map, Wayne County also not in good shape. Here they are right here. They are right around 8,000 outages this morning. And Putnam County, they have grown exponentially as well. They are right around 17,000 outages. And Mason County, Kanawha County, the list just keeps going on and on. Many of these counties, 5,000 outages or more. So again, we are going to continue to follow this for you throughout the state of West Virginia. I do want to show you what's happening in Ohio and Kentucky quickly as soon as this tab decides to open. Here we go. This county right here, this is Lawrence County. They have about 12,000 outages at this time. So here in Ohio, that's what they're looking at. In Kentucky, Boyd County isn't good either. And actually, we are going to send it out to meteorologist Alex Cordero. He's in Flatwoods, Kentucky. Alex, how are conditions looking there?
It's not pleasant to be outside, Lauren, that's for sure, with the wind that is biting coming in from the north, and factor in the fact that there's just this remaining snow or ice or sleet pack, whatever you want to call it, kind of enhancing the fact that it's very cold. And it's hard to walk on, let alone drive. You can see, look to the ground. You can't really mess with this. That's how stiff, that's how cold it is. Thank goodness the road crews have been out and about. We have seen constant amounts of plows kind of treating the roads here. This is Argolite Road, and it goes through Greenup County here next to, again, Flatwoods, where we're located. And, well, these conditions aren't the friendliest either. Thank goodness our work vehicles are able to travel through this. But here's the thing. Considering that it's not going to get above freezing today, don't expect a lot of improvement from nature. It's likely going to be from, again, road workers out and about, but there are also power outages in eastern Kentucky. Just yesterday, when we were showing you live reports in southern parts of Ashland, away from downtown, the power went out between our 6 and 6:30 hits, and it was pitch black out there. Now, areas near downtown Ashland were able to hold with their power grid, but it just goes to show you, when you get a freezing rain event like this, combination of road impacts and power issues can make for very harsh conditions. And now we have the strong wind coming in from the west and north that's not going to make things any friendlier. We'll have another update live in eastern Kentucky in just about a half hour. Reporting in Greenup County, I'm Alex Cordero, Eyewitness News.
Well, we've got quite the mess on our hands this morning, north and west especially. The after effects of this storm is going to be around for several days. My heart goes out to you if you've lost power, because the weather pattern is not going to be friendly here. Power outage is most likely going to last for several days. I know the crews are out there working hard. They do such a great job, but there's so much down right now. We've got fallen trees and lines down. We've got some gusty winds moving through. That may push additional trees down. The weight of that ice, we had 2 ice storms over the past week. So all that ice adding up is just causing major problems. Keep in mind, if you encounter some lines today, they can still be live. So you want to stay away from those. and we cannot rule out additional trees and lines coming down with those gusty winds. All the weight of that ice on those tree branches